for a second or two, just think about the people in your life who have consistently been there for you, even during difficult times or when the path ahead seemed overwhelming. Now imagine if that kind of loyalty came from an animal that was once terrified of your own shadow, let alone you. 30,000 years ago, deep inside a dark cave in France, ancient artists did something amazing. Using a piece of burnt wood as a charcoal pencil and limestone walls as their drawing boards, they skillfully sketched a group of animals. Among them are fearsome cave lions, woolly rhinos with horns like curved swords, and an owl that seems to gaze across 30 millennia. But of all the creatures depicted on those walls, the horse is the most prominent. These horses look powerful and wild. Horses are, in fact, the most commonly painted animal in all Ice Age cave art. However, here's a surprising truth concerning these particular paintings. To the person drawing them, these horses weren't pets. They weren't partners. They were food. For thousands of years, this was our only relationship with horses. We chased them, we hunted them, and we ate them. But then something shifted. In a very short amount of time, the horse went from being our dinner to being our greatest ally. They helped us build empires, travel across continents, and farm the land. But how did this happen? Did we tame them in many different places at once? Or did it all start with one special group of horses? Today, we are going on a journey through time to find out how the horse became the animal that changed human history forever. But before we continue, permit me welcome you to the channel, and yes, we know curiosity brought you here. This space satisfies that curiosity by exploring the strange, forgotten, misunderstood, and deeply human tales found in history, science, and the lives of real people. If this sounds like something you'd enjoy, then consider subscribing to the channel for regular videos that will always leave you nodding your head after watching. Now let's move on to the story. To understand where horses came from, we have to clear up one big mistake. You might see wild horses running across the plains of America today and think they are the original ancient ancestors. But they aren't. Those are actually feral horses. That means their great-grandparents were once tame and escaped. Biologically, they are just domestic horses living in the wild. For a long time, scientists thought a rare horse called Przewalski's horse was the only truly wild horse left. They are short, chunky, and have stiff manes that stand straight up. They look exactly like the horses in those ancient cave paintings. But as our ability to read DNA improved, the story fell apart. Genetic testing revealed that Przewalski's horses don't even have the same number of chromosomes as our domestic horses today. They have 66, while our present-day horses have 64. They are distant cousins, not grandfathers. This left archaeologists with a massive hole in history. They were wondering, like, if the only wild horse left isn't the ancestor, then who is? This question haunted historians for decades, because it seemed like the original horse had simply vanished from the face of the earth. However, in the 1990s, archaeologists began excavating a 5,500-year-old settlement in Kazakhstan called Botai. What they found was staggering, hundreds of thousands of horse bones. So, for many years, the discoveries at Botai were seen as clear proof that this was where horse history got missing. Archaeologists also found broken pieces of ancient pottery. When they studied these pieces carefully, they found traces of horse milk and horse meat. This showed that the people depended heavily on horses for food. Even more interesting were the ancient horse teeth they found. The teeth had unusual wear marks. Experts believed these marks came from bits placed in the horses' mouths. A bit is used to control a horse while riding. These marks suggested that the people of Botai may have been riding horses. With so much evidence, many researchers believed the mystery was solved. They concluded that the people of Botai were the first to domesticate and ride horses. But in 2018, everything changed again because of new science. Scientists used advanced DNA tests to look at the bones again. These tests showed something shocking. The horses at Botai were not the ancestors of the horses we have today. Instead, they were the ancestors of a different, wild breed called Przewalski's horse. This meant the Botai horses were a dead end in history and didn't lead to our modern horses. The surprises kept coming. Scientists looked closely at the horse's teeth. Before, they thought the marks on the teeth were caused by a bit, the metal piece a rider puts in a horse's mouth to control it. But then, they found the exact same marks on the teeth of wild horses that had never even seen a human. It turns out these marks happen naturally when horses chew on tough grass. This proved that the Botai people weren't actually riding the horses. They weren't horse whisperers after all. Instead, they were just very good at hunting wild horses for meat and milk. They were highly organized hunters, but the dream of them being the first riders was over. In 2021, a massive team of 160 researchers finally found the holy grail of horse history. They studied the DNA of over 270 ancient horses from all over the world. They discovered that for thousands of years there were many different types of wild horses. Some lived in the cold lands of Siberia, some lived in Spain, and others lived in France. They were all different and lived apart from each other. These careful study by these researchers proved that about 4,000 years ago, everything changed. A single group of horses from a part of Russia near the Volga and Don rivers began to move. Very quickly, these horses spread across the world. In just a few hundred years, they replaced almost every other type of horse on Earth. Every horse we see today, from a tiny pony to a giant farm horse, comes from this one family in Russia. This wasn't a slow change, it was a total takeover. But why did this happen? Why did humans choose these horses over all the others? The answer was hidden in their DNA. These horses had two superpowers that made them perfect partners for humans. The first superpower was a stronger back. Most wild horses have a spine built for running away from predators, not for carrying weight. If a person tried to sit on them, they could get hurt. But these Russian horses had a special change in their bones that made their backs very strong. This meant they could carry a rider or pull a heavy chariot for a long time without getting injured. The second superpower was even more important. They were calm. Most wild horses are very jumpy. If a stick snaps, they run away. If you try to touch them, they might kick. But these specific horses were naturally chill. They didn't get scared easily. This made it easy for humans to talk to them, tame them, train, and breed them. Once humans realized they had found a horse that was both strong enough to carry them and calm enough to follow orders, a partnership was born that would change the world forever. Before the horse, you could only travel as far as you could walk in a day. That meant you probably stayed in your own village your whole life. But with a horse, the world became small. Horses allowed us to move goods across thousands of miles to trade with other cultures. This is how ideas, languages, and technologies started spreading across the world. They allowed farmers to grow much more food by pulling heavy plows, which meant more people could stay healthy and cities could grow. And, of course, it changed war. The invention of the chariot and the cavalry meant that empires could be built. From the Mongols to the Romans, history was written by people on horseback. Almost every major event in the last 4,000 years happened because of the partnership between humans and this one specific family of horses. If we hadn't found those specific Volga and Don horses, we might still be living in small, isolated tribes today. We don't really need horses to move our cars or pull our plows anymore. We have engines for that. But our love for them hasn't gone away. We still find them just as beautiful as the cave artists did 30,000 years ago. We moved from hunting them for dinner to riding them into battle, and finally, to just having them as our loyal friends. When you look at a horse today, you are looking at a creature that was literally selected by history to be our partner. The horse didn't just carry us across the land, it carried us into the modern world. It is the only animal that allowed us to move faster than our own two legs, and for that, we owe them our entire civilization. If you enjoyed this story of how horses became our best friends, hit that like button and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. and tell me in the comments, what's your favorite horse breed, or do you have a cool story about meeting a horse?